My sister made me this super awesome book art for Christmas this year, and I decided that I wanted to make a nice shelf for it to display in my room. So what I've decided to go with is a couple different species of wood. This one I'm pretty sure is some sort of mahogany. I'm going to leave that live edge, I think, for a cool look. That's going to be the shelf that it actually sits on, and then a piece of black walnut that I'm going to use to make the bottom part of the shelf. I think it'll go together something like that. It'll sit on the wall. The wall will be here, and then I'll use box joints to join those two together. So let's get started. I'm going to try to plane this, but it might be a little short for this planer. We'll see how this goes. Okay, I think I can live with that. It's not perfect, but I do want this to be nice and chunky, so I want to leave it pretty thick. A little bit of snipe there, but nothing too bad. I think I can work with this. Now for the walnut. And the thicknesses of these two pieces don't really matter. I'm just going to go until I clean up some of this stuff. I'm going to sand these now before I do any more work on them. Alright, next I'm going to set up my box joint jig, and then I'll cut the box joints so that I can put those two pieces together. So the thing that's tricky about this particular joint is that I need to cut a different depth in each of these pieces, because for example, in the walnut, I'm going to need to cut all the way down to the same thickness as this piece, and the reverse is true in this one. I only need to cut to there. So I'm going to have to do this in two steps. First up is the walnut. Get it set up for the other piece, where I'm going to use my spacer, and this time I'm going to be setting it to the thickness of the walnut block instead of the thickness of the mahogany one. Or a tad bit over. Maybe that's good. Yeah. So since I started the walnut piece right here on the blade, I'm going to move this one by 1/4 of an inch to the right. And I don't want it to blow out, so that's why I'm using a piece of sacrificial wood. So I'm going to go out by a full turn. pretty big chip outs, even though I was using that extra sacrificial piece. But luckily that's gonna be not seen. I've got the shape traced out that I want to do. I'm gonna go cut it on the bandsaw. Nice and easy. Now I'm gonna go sand this real quick and then we'll do the glue up. All right, I cut this out, sanded it, and I also put a chamfer on there because it's gonna be easier to do that now compared with later. So it's glue time. That's as good as it's gonna get. All right, I glued it up last night. Let's take it apart, see how it turned out. All right, so here's what we got. Didn't close up quite all the way. That's all right. Now it's just time to sand it. Drilled those the rest of the way through. So now I'm gonna screw it to the wall and I'll plug it with a little piece of walnut dowel. Time for mineral oil. All right, here it is installed. I think it came out pretty nice. Book looks great up there. And I also went ahead and added a little light, a little 12-volt light with a switch, just to help illuminate the book a little bit better. Let me know what you guys think.